politics that they need to work racism into everything because that's how they divide people. That's the divide and conquer. And history repeats itself. And if you try and erase history, well, then you're going to repeat yourself in the worst way because you're not going to have anything to look back to and be like, this is where we came from. Look how far forward we've traveled. If you were patriotic to your nation, well, you want to see America win. You want to see America succeed. You want somebody in the most powerful position taking that responsibility seriously, saying, it is my job to make sure that the country I represent wins and succeed. And we're back with another episode of the Julius Files. I am your host, Jason Julius. And I mean, we got some fuckery going on. There's always some this is an episode of Off the Rails, and I mean we're already found our way off the rails. That's I have my co-hosts Trish and Tori with me, and we're just gonna leave nicknames out of it and leave it like that.
Yeah,
I mean,
I like that.
Maybe I can get like a shirt like yours though and put like galactic as fuck.
No, I mean, don't get me wrong, because the thing is the whole, you know how the blue collar comedy tour, like what's your sign?
Yeah.
So with the AF apparel, it's going to be the what's your word, and so to roll it out, I will be giving gifts out to 10 or 15 people. And I'm going to choose your word for you, but it will be a gift, so that we can get the footage of and rolling out the AF apparel line itself. Obviously, my chosen rolling out is I don't know. Can you actually? Oh, wait a minute. Yeah.
Let's make sure you can see it.
Oh,
you can't see shit.
Tori just fucks it all up.
Tori did it.
Tori did.
Tori didn't do shit.
Yeah, Tori fucked it all up.
Tori didn't do shit.
Yeah, no.
Oh, there you are.
Hey.
Tori fucked it all up on one camera, but that's okay. We had plenty more
now
actually
I can
going.
see your mouth.
Okay.
Okay, so
stubborn.
Can we see the stubborn AF?
Oh,
yeah, no, we got to move the mic down. Stubborn AF for the, because I mean we're gonna have. I mean I've got the AF apparel line rolling out, plus my own personal merch, which will. Let's say call it a subsidiary of the AF apparel line, because I will have my specific chosen words, but I have chosen like materials and cuts of shirts that are specific for my merch line. And then I've chosen just general soft shirts for the AF apparel line. So this will be one of the shirts for the AF apparel line, but the ones that I've chosen for mine are a little bit different material in general. But it is all going to be about what's your word. I just happen to have, I don't know, 20 or 30 words for my own personal merch line, but they will all find their way into the AF apparel line itself. So I got some really cool plans in the works there, and we're getting off topic because obviously this is supposed to be an off the rails. So, ladies, I'm curious as if do you have your topic of the day? What I mean, that generally Trish has got some good stuff, but I found Trish teetering today with whether she wanted to go political or find some really juicy headlines going on in the world. So, what do you got for us today, Trish?
Well, I decided I'd go ahead and just, not be inappropriate today.
Okay.
So DeSantis is sued by the Florida prosecutors because the judge blocked him. They blocked the woke law that he's pushing through in Florida. I don't know if you're familiar with the law, but basically he's saying that you can't talk about anything regarding people of color or people from the past that's going to make you uncomfortable.
Who's saying that?
This is DeSantis. And
DeSantis is saying you can't talk about anything that's going to make you uncomfortable?
Yes.
I'm finding that hard to believe.
He says here that this is a Stop Woke Act that they've... Basically, it targets what DeSantis has called a pernicious ideology exemplified by critical race theory. It's the idea that racism is systematic in the U.S. institutions that serve to perpetrate white dominance in society. The law is prohibiting teaching or business practices that contend members of other ethnic groups that are inherently racist or should feel guilt for the past actions committed by others. It says here it bars the notion that a person's status as privileged or oppressed is necessarily determined by their race or gender, or that discrimination is acceptable to achieve diversity. The lawsuit was filed Thursday in a federal court, claiming that the law amounts to racially motivated censorship that will act to stifle widespread demands to discuss, study, and address systematic inequalities. So any of this information that people are going to look for in the old school, like history books and things like that, they're not making it available. They're turning it around.
But the thing is, because the first thing I want to say, and you know what, when this pisses people off,
right?
America is the least racist nation in all of the world, but it's also the most political nation in all of the world. And we have a faction of politics that they need to work racism into everything because that's how they divide people. That's the divide and conquer, because it ain't no different than when Joe Biden said, and I'll f this up, but something of like, if you ain't black, or you ain't black if you're not voting for me.
Yeah.
Like everything always has to be racially divided, but it's the left that keeps up that racial division. And I mean, there's a lot going on in the topic that you brought up, but not everything in history as it's written or what has been allowed to come to society. Yeah. It's not true.
Right.
It's been whitewashed. I mean, it ain't no different than when they were knocking down statues. And I'm like, oh, because somehow that offends your wokeness. It's history. And history repeats itself. And if you try and erase history, well, then you're going to repeat yourself in the worst way, because you're not going to have anything to look back to and be like, this is where we came from. Look how far forward we've traveled. So and I'm saying this because this Ron DeSantis deal, I'm like, I mean, I got to admit, I got a certain amount of respect for the dude. And I'm saying that because he has been one of those people that I've seen call bullshit. Yeah. This, I don't, there's more to it than, because the statement that I saw was that DeSantis suspends a state attorney over wokeness. And I'm like, I'm the first one to, like, I think this woke shit is garbage, because I think that it is what treads on the First Amendment rights, because wokeness has led to the cancel culture because people didn't like what they were hearing. So they just felt the need to say, cancel, you're not allowed to speak and your thoughts are not allowed to be brought forward. Yeah. Now it seems like this lawsuit is trying to somehow project and claim that all of that is somehow falling and that DeSantis is championing that. And I'm like, bullshit, because I know what we teach in history, like it's being changed. Like it's being changed as we speak. And what the kids were taught in my generation, I think was a little different than what was taught previous generation, but it is a ton different to what is being taught in this generation.
Absolutely, because, you know, they were even talking about slavery and they're not wanting to call it slavery anymore. It was like indigenous servants or some shit. And I was like, wait a minute, let's call it what it is and let's move past it and show how we've progressed.
Well, and that right there, move past it. Yeah. Like, call it what it is and move past it. And that's where I get pissed about the wokeness and I mean, I'm not saying that by just not talking about racism that it goes away. Right. I'm saying pushing the narrative when America is the biggest melting pot in the world. Right. Like I'm one of those people where I've been like, I'm all for interracial relationships so that we can all just realize that we are all mutts. Yeah. And we need to just like get over ourselves. Like it's not that deep, but politicians and politics won't let it die. Because that's how they divide voting blocks. And it pisses me off where I'm like, so I'm not allowed to have a thought that might offend you and you're going to label it racist to cancel my thought. That is offensive to me, because that goes against First Amendment rights. Like there are a lot of things that the far left or the far right says that I'm like, I don't agree with that. And on some level, it does kind of offend me, but I'm not trying to stop them from saying it. They have a right to state their own opinions in the entire matter.
Well, I think this also goes back to a lot of the things that we talk about regarding like propaganda laws and things like that. Because what happens is issues like the racism, you know, police brutality and things like that. These things get highlighted people are all about promoting these things online and talking about these things. But when it comes to unity and when it comes to inclusion and stuff like that, I don't feel like those are highlighted nearly as much.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I'll take it a step further. This is what they want.
Absolutely.
They want this divide because they want your brain wrapped around this bullshit so that you're not paying attention to what they are doing. Because this does come back to one of the famous lines from Obama. Elections have consequences. And the same way the individual that is in our White House, I'm like, look out, the man's going to trash the economy with his very descriptive stances that we all knew he would take.
Right.
Okay. Ron DeSantis wields a lot of power as the Florida governor because not only will the dude be reelected by a landslide in general, so he's very powerful in Florida and on a national stage, his words have a lot of influence. That's what we're talking about here. That, okay, there is the left and the right. They elected DeSantis, and you do have a pecking order in politics, and he is following through and doing what he thinks is right for his constituency and for where his morals and values are, and paying attention to this BS is doing nothing other than keeping you off of what is actually going on. It is. It is totally about distraction.
You know, we were talking about this yesterday, you know, with COVID. You know, they lifted the CDC restrictions now. So we're like, you don't have to have a vaccine. You don't have to worry about this. You don't have to do that. Oh, and by the way, here's monkeypox.
Yeah, no.
Let's see what next time.
I just, the level of overreach and constitutional violations that happened over COVID was something I never thought that I would see in my life.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that we were past that.
Concentration camp type shit.
Really?
Yeah.
Like,
look at China.
Yes.
They were welding the windows and shit shut. I saw an article the other day where the people were running out of the IKEA because they did not want to get shut in there. And they were freaking out because they have these cards and they're scanning these cards. And as soon as somebody has COVID, they just shut the whole thing down, whether you're in there, whatever's happening. Could you imagine being stuck somewhere for 5-7 days and you're stuck in a shopping center or whatever?
Like away from your family and
Exactly.
everything else.
All over a virus that has a 99.9% survival rate.
Yeah.
All over power.
And that's exactly what it is.
Yep.
And to me, the big guys are all up there and it's just a chess piece. You got this and you're going to move this and you're going to do this. And then what's going to happen is let's make this distraction over here because really we're going to do some shady shit later. And then you mix in a little bit of the elections that are getting ready to happen here in the next year or so. So now you're going to have a melting pot literally of just a bunch of.
Well, and that's what I said. And this, the article that you read, like all that is chess pieces.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because both sides are literally using government money behind them to sue each other.
Yeah.
And then get the clickbait and in the headlines so that you can pay attention like somehow you're being informed. Like, no, you're not. There's no good information to come out of this. This is just these two jockeying back and forth. But I hate to tell that state attorney, you lose. Yeah. Like Ron DeSantis has, like I've talked to people in Florida and I've told them, like, I'm telling you now, the ticket is going to be Trump DeSantis. And they're pissed. You know why? Because they love the dude so much as a governor. They don't want to hear about him not being their governor.
Yeah.
Like the dude is literally loved that much in Florida. And I'm not going to deny that. I mean, Biden got elected. Like DeSantis literally talked to the president and told him to go f himself. Like he has, like if that wasn't like Trumpism, like right there, the dude has got a huge support behind him. That when it comes to the people, the guy's got the people behind him, and that's where, I mean, you can say what you want, but that is my prediction. It's going to be a Trump DeSantis, and DeSantis is going to be the VP for 4 years, and that paves the way for him to run for president for the next 8 years. And the question will be, does the votes end up coming out that way? But that's what I see happening. I mean, he's going to run for president. Trump's going to run for president. Trump has a 30 to 35% like hardcore base that will never walk away from him.
Yeah.
And then the field will have to consolidate, and Trump will ask DeSantis to be the VP, and they will run on a ticket together. And from my viewpoint, it's probably a winning ticket. And I'm saying probably because I can literally tell anybody listening to this, I have watched no news and no BS from MSM for the last 2 years. So I'm not totally up on all of the politics. Don't know who the Democrats are lining up to put in that run in that race. But at this day and age, politics is a lot about marketing, and Trump and DeSantis have got national name recognition now. Like, it does not matter what you're trying to build on the other side for tomorrow.
They've already done it.
Now that they have national name recognition, and it's going to be a very powerful ticket. And at some point, as we actually get closer to the elections, I might actually tune in for the debates just because I want to see, like, who are we got to make this look good. So who are we going to throw in on each side?
Throw a little lipstick on the pig.
Exactly, to see what it comes. But we all know what it's going to come down to, because it doesn't. And because I really like the whole Trump raid thing, and we talked about it. Like, I listened to a couple pieces on it. It looks to me like, from what I saw, that it was a quiet, they came in, that Trump was the one that came out and was like, oh, they raided me.
Yeah.
Okay, but here's the thing
what
about
he
Trump.
does.
He doubled down on it. Like, he's not shutting up about it.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing. Every time you think you've got this dude backed into a corner, he will double down and come out. And generally, he ends up coming out being the victor when it comes to, like, he's pissed off the people that he wants to piss off.
Yeah.
And he has solidified the people that he wants to solidify. So no matter how you think you're actually coming at him, in the end, he ends up doing exactly what he intended to do to both sides of it.
How old is Trump? Do you know?
I mean, I know that he's in his, I mean, I say I know, but I know he's, he's got to be late 70s. But he
76.
is 76.
God,
but
damn.
but he has all of his cognitive abilities. Like, he is a sharp 76, like, unlike the individual occupying. I mean, I've seen some funny ass TikToks here lately where I'm like, dude can't even get out of a car. He can't put a jacket on his sleeve. Got to get help from the wife. And about that time, then he can't keep the glasses on his head. I mean, I'm like, he's struggling, like struggle bus, struggling.
This makes me sad.
This
is a representation of the United States, and this put his jacket.
No, and that right there, because that's the thing. I saw another TikTok, and it was Lindsey Graham was in the background. And he was like, we were talking about Trump, and he said China was trying to figure out Trump, and he said, get in line. We're all trying to figure out Trump. But he goes, you know what? When Trump was president, like, they feared us. Wasn't it nice to know that there was a certain amount of fear and respect for the power that America wielded? Because then I go back to that American AF. I mean, like I can't.
Patriotic.
Yeah, patriotic AF. My point being, like, I can only be who I am. I am an American. If I was Russian, I'm sure I would try and be, as long as I felt like I had some control of my life, I would be patriotic towards Russia. Same thing with any country, because I don't fault any country or countrymen in their country for being patriotic to their country. I can only be American.
Yeah.
So I want to see America not only just survive, but thrive. So then when I see our president saying that there's nothing special about America, I'm like, okay, well, if you were in Italy and your president in Italy said there's nothing special about Italy, I can imagine that you're really going to piss off some Italian people because they're like, that heritage is like, that means something to them. That's part of your identity. There are very few like world people that will not claim being patriotic to one country or another. So, I mean, I really can't be mad at them, and I'm not going to deny. I wanted to see a businessman because I wanted to see that our tax dollars was going to be negotiated in a manner that, like, I know what my purposes are when I enter in a negotiation. I'm sure, like, I don't look for win-lose, but I'm damn sure not walking into a negotiation for me to be the loser.
Right.
Too many damn times I've watched America walk into negotiations and they're like, we're the loser. Like we're the loser with our tax dollars. How we have the most power in the world. Like how did we become the loser in this situation? I'm not quite understanding
We
that.
automatically just take a back seat.
Yeah, no, I'm like, and that's what I'm saying is it just seems like I see that more and more happening. I didn't see too much of that when Trump was president. And you say what you want about the dude, but it seemed like when we entered a negotiation, we were not the loser in the negotiation. And I'm just keeping it real. You think what you want about the man. I'm talking about if you were patriotic to your nation, well, you want to see America win. You want to see America succeed. You want somebody in the most powerful position taking that responsibility seriously, saying, it is my job to make sure that the country I represent wins and succeeds. And we haven't been doing a whole lot of winning and succeeding here lately. And
yeah,
that's my 2 cents that I went off the rails on your off the rails, and we'll keep it moving on the off the rails. Miss Tori, what do you have for us?
So this article is talking about a 20% bump in drive-through business since February 2020. And as a result, drive-throughs are expanding, adding more lanes, and even doing alcohol to go.
Ooh.
It's called a speakeasy lane. In parentheses.
Oh, wow.
That's fancy.
Yeah, because I'm like,
Sounds fun, right?
I'm totally like, okay, you're saying that.
Go to Taco
I've
Bell,
been
get Baja
recognizing
blasted.
it and seeing it, but like Taco Bell serving alcohol, like,
I mean, no, I was just making a joke. You could go get Baja blasted.
oh. Well, I mean,
But you don't drink soda, so you don't really know what that means.
A
but-
speakeasy lane? Are you kidding me?
How do you think that would work out in Cocoa?
Man, because I'm just.
I can
I
think-
mean, we got a double drive-through.
No, but
I'll serve you a martini. Go sit.
on a real note, like, and I'm gonna be, because this is the kind of person I am. I've had several people that have influenced my life, but the man that I refer to as like my mentor, he's not cool with alcohol.
Yeah.
So I told him a long time ago, like, I'm not going to tell you all the business things that I might get involved in the world, but my name is attached to your name, and you have made a very solid stance about where you feel about alcohol, and I'm not going to tread on that.
But that's very respectable on your part.
Again, it's a character thing where I need to be able to live with myself. And I'm like, this man has shared so much with me. He has taken me under his wing for a decade. Like, no, his as far as I'm concerned, he's the most righteous man I've ever met. But in this community, like, his name is gold, and I would never do anything to tarnish that through affiliation. So Coffee Junkies and Pizza Junkies will never be affiliated with anything alcohol. Not as long as I'm leading the ship.
Yeah.
No, Coffee Junkies and Pizza Junkies will be a non-alcoholic specialty beverage caffeine distribution business. Like, I'm not.
Bring your own shots.
You got a pregame before you get your pizza.
That'd be good, because I'm not going to deny. I mean, like,
Order delivery. Don't drink and drive.
Let's say on the down low, like, our smoothies.
That's exactly what I was thinking about.
I'm not gonna
It has the recipe on the box. I just have to look at it every day.
Well, because when I was in the fair circuit, I started making some friends with this older couple, and he drank Crown.
Yeah.
And he had this bright idea of putting Crown with our Wildberry Blast, and the next day he was like, "Oh my God, that's so fabulous!" And I'm like, shit, that's actually not damn bad. Because I'm not saying I am against alcohol personally. I'm just saying I'm not attaching my brands. I'm not going to be in business to profit off of alcohol because it's just not. Because I got a conscience. I'm not a bad person, and I'm very much appreciative of my mentor and everything that he's done for me.
I saw a TikTok today where they took a buzz ball. Are you familiar with those?
Mm-mm.
Sell them at the gas station, like 2 for $4.
So they took like the mudslide buzz.
Yeah.
They took the mudslide buzz ball and put it in a McDonald's like mocha.
Okay.
And she was like, "Good morning." And then like she tossed it in there. She like stirred it up, and I was like,
wow.
She said it might be 8 a.m., but
Right.
we finna get turned.
Oh my God.
"Thirsty Thursday."
I swear.
Okay. I know, don't get me wrong. I will say that I'm not going to sit here and say what I feel is doing it right, but I think that they're doing it wrong in the drive-through lanes. I see the extra drive-through lanes, and I still think that they're doing it wrong. And when I explode in the expanding of drive-through lanes, I'm going to do it right, because I've seen what right is for increasing capacity when it comes to drive-through lanes. And by and large, from what I see, I don't think that they are expanding their drive-through capacity in the most efficient manner. But on the other end of it, there's also billions of dollars involved in these companies. So who am I to question what they're doing? I'm just observing what they're doing and saying, I know I can do it better.
Hell, look at Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah. Look at their drive-through process.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
but even then, you still merge into one line.
Yeah,
that's the whole right there. That's what I'm saying. You still merge into one line. The extra thing is that, I mean, when you can send extra people out there and on a computer, they can type in the order. Okay, you can process an infinite amount of orders. It does not matter. You're only going to funnel into one lane the way they have it designed. You're only going to move so many people through that one lane so quickly. That's what
I tell the girls at Coffee Junkies is even if you can't really do anything with that customer, like they just want to be talked to. They just want to like know what's going on. So you still got to talk to them. But yeah, in 2 lanes, you can talk to them twice, but you're still going to be waiting for that 5 minutes that you're waiting. So
exactly.
I don't know.
And well, because I still go back to like Demolition Man.
Yeah.
Taco Bell is the only thing that survived.
Have you seen the double-decker Taco Bell? They've been advertising.
No, because that's literally, hold on, look. Oh, wait, no, this one's
and it's got like a massive drive-through too. I think there's like 2 or 3 lanes.
Like 4 lanes.
I've seen those that, I mean, it's like, that's just absolutely crazy. Because I'm sitting there going, in Demolition Man, when they talked about the food wars, Taco Bell won. And I mean, the reality is the McDonald brothers developed the workflow for fast food. And then you had, I don't even know why his name is evading me now, Ray Kroc. That was like, hey, let me commandeer that. Let me expand it times thousands of times. But the people that own Taco Bell also came and observed what the McDonald's brothers did back then when they were designing workflow. So they were armed with the same thing. And at the end of the day, like even today, I'm seeing Taco Bells pop up in places that I'm like, what the hell? Like,
did you see it? Do you know how it originated? So Taco Bell was a regular restaurant at one time that sold like coney dogs and stuff like that. And then there was a Mexican restaurant across the street and he realized they got so much more business than him. So he went over and was like, hey, how are you guys getting all this business? What do you guys sell? So she showed him how to make tacos. So that he stole their recipe and went over there and started making tacos.
Did he put him out of business?
No, he didn't put him out of business, but it was a fast food restaurant.
Yeah, but all you got to do is duplicate beyond that. Well, okay.
So that's pretty much how Taco Bell came about.
Wow. And I mean, it didn't, that's, because the thing is let's be real. There's nothing original anymore. All you can do is innovate. And you have to look at what the leaders and winners are doing. Yeah. And I mean, that's the whole, the fine line that you walk is that you should not necessarily copy, but once you learn what success is, you should look and emulate that to how does it apply to what I'm doing. So like the shitty part is I'm going to be looking at that Taco Bell going, you shouldn't have done that to the guy next door. Yeah. But once you open up a couple miles down the road and a couple miles down the road and a couple miles down the road, like, that's capitalism for you right there. Like when you do something and it is successful, people are going to start paying attention to you. And once they pay attention, it's only a matter of time before somebody is copying you or emulating what you're actually doing. And that is just capitalism. I mean, expect it. That's why I go back to that when I brought up that whole thing with Andrew Tate, where I'm like, he knew that when you open up a social media line that other people try and open up so you'll get a lot of the people with personal brands saying, this is my only account. Don't believe any other account that might contact you. Well, Andrew Tate saw that. And what did he do? He broke out his social media presence with 20 different versions of his account to be like, you motherfuckers are going to copy me anyway. So I'm just going to copy myself from day one. Good luck keeping up with it. Not mad at you.
I think we should definitely do one for the podcast anyway for Instagram or even just Facebook so we can list all of those on there. And that way it's going to be easy access. And we can even make it like a special group or something just so that way people who are interested, they'd be able to just click links. Yeah. And hell, we could do that too.
Something to talk about. Okay. Are we ready for my
what you got?
For my headline? Joe Biden calls Liz Cheney after her primary election defeat. Okay. Now, I'm laughing.
What?
The reason that I'm laughing is because, like, that's garbage stuff right there. But it's garbage split 3 ways where, what is it? An enemy... an enemy of an enemy is a friend, something along that's
Yeah.
Because that's what's funny is, I mean, I'm like, this isn't even about party. This is one common denominator. Hey, we hate each other, but we both hate Trump. So you know what? Let's be friends.
Besties for the resties.
Yeah. But I still look back and I'm like, I don't have the most positive things to say about previous presidents, which Liz Cheney's father is directly attached to some of those previous presidents. So her trying to be a Republican but go after Trump, like, she got what she deserved. That's politics. She got smoked in her primary. She should have saw it coming. And man, the lady, I hope that you got thick skin, because what was left in that article, if you actually run for president, oh my, he will smoke you. Like, I'm not talking about beat you. Like, that's a foregone conclusion. He will beat you. Like, what he will say to you and about your last name and about your father and about the people that your father's associated with, like,
no holds barred.
No, like that will be that'll be part of the circus to be watching in the actual election side of it. I don't know, man. I mean, maybe sometimes it's better off just to leave sleeping dogs lie, and because like, she got beat brutally by a Trump-backed opponent. Well, she talked enough smack about him that she invited that battle to her doorstep. You better choose your battles.
I feel like if you're ready for it, then bring it.
Yeah.
But make sure you're ready for it.
No, that's the thing, is that, I mean, you read the Sun Tzu, The Art of War, like, you do not engage in a battle you have not already won. You don't go picking a fight with Trump. Like, you're not that good.
Yeah.
Your name is not that good. You're not that good. You got smoked. So just maybe you want to. I don't know. Yeah, we'll go with stay in your lane. All I'm saying is, if it continues, it's going to be some WWE shit.
Yeah.
That will be quite comical as we go. But I'm not going to deny that, like, what I saw her say about him, like, I was kind of offended by the shit too. And I'm like, you got what you deserved. But on the other end of it, I'm also not going to deny that, like, I was not a fan of McCain, but what Trump said about McCain, like, that offended me. Like you don't say shit like that, about our veterans. So I'm trying to be real and be honest about this. Like, I don't agree with everything, not far from everything that's come out of the dude's mouth. I just respect that he's a fighter. I mean, like, and you want a fighter in that position. And I think at the end of the day, when we all have to vote, you are always going to be up against a lesser of two evils. You're never going to have a perfect candidate and an obvious choice in an election, because politics is such a blood sport that you're not going to get to that level of play in politics without being really banged up and bruised up, and it is always going to be about a lesser of two evils. So, like, I'm not going to justify. I'm not even going to try and justify not even half of what has come out of Trump's mouth. But I mean, I really did not like the comments that he made about McCain, but that was because of his background, because I wasn't a big McCain fan myself. That doesn't take away from how he served this country and what he endured in those camps. If I had been Trump, I would have never. I don't know what I would have said, but I wouldn't have said that. That wasn't cool. So I understand how there's alliances, but Liz Cheney, she poked a bear that she should not have been poking, and I mean, the way her primary went, that's like, everybody. If you thought I was going to go any other way, like you're listening to too much politics, because I didn't need to listen to politics at all to know it was going to go that way. That's tough. Yeah. Okay. Ladies, do you have any more that you would like to opine on all of these topics?
No.
Okay.
I think we're good.
Yeah, exactly. Well, then we will wrap it up. Okay.
Let the shit show begin.
Exactly. All right. Until next time, you guys have a good night.